Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do a video welcoming you to our new home. We've moved in to our new permanent council house. We've been here for about a month now. And it's been really such a relief to get to a nice sustainable permanent rent that we can afford and we can stay in for as long as we want to. So it's part of our journey towards self-sustainability, so that we can really build towards our ultimate dream. And I just wanted to chat to you guys a bit about basically our journey to get here. Excuse the woodwork in the background. That's down doing some DIY. So yeah, I'll chat to you a little bit about how we got here, and then give you a little tour of the house and the garden. Actually, we're sitting in the garden here, backing onto the woodland. Really amazing space. We're in a bit of a valley down here, really close to our allotment, still close to the sea. Let me see if I can turn the camera view around. No, I can't. Hang on, let's turn the camera around, see if I can get a little bit of a view out there to the sea. There we go. Anyway, so yeah, we've kind of been on the waiting list for this place for about 8.5 years now. It's certainly in Brighton and Hove. It's not something you just click your fingers and say, "Oh, I want a nice cheap council rent so I can afford to live." No, so you put yourself on the register, and it takes the best part of a decade to get from point A to B. So just before Astara was born, I put myself on the register, and then a couple of years after she came along, we ended up having to give up our private rented property. So we had to get officially evicted so we could get help from the council to move on from there, because the rents had just escalated really like tenfold since we moved in there. And then we moved in from there to emergency accommodation, where we spent 13 months in like a one-bed flat. And for the last 6 months of that, it was with 3 kids. So that was a pretty intense experience. Good fun too. We made a good use of the communal space, and the kids made lots of friends. And yeah, we're right by the beach, so no complaints there. But it was definitely a challenge. And that wasn't our first stint in emergency accommodation either. We actually spent a few months when Yuli was a baby and he came along and we first moved to Brighton. We spent a few months in a really kind of quite damp and dingy emergency accommodation, which we couldn't really stay in when he was born because he was quite a sickly baby. So the mold in the flat was too much, and that's why we initially went into private renting. I think when we entered into private renting, it was about $650 a month to rent a one-bed garden flat. And by the time we left, that same sort of flat had gone up to more like £900 a month, which is just not sustainable for anyone in this day and age. So yeah, we went from there to emergency, where we sat out, and then we got put into the priority accepted home list, which means that you haven't been offered permanent accommodation. And so at that point, at 13 months down in emergency, we were then moved on to long-term temporary, which is our last house. Really nice house, but downsides were that we couldn't really do any permanent alterations to the property. The rent was super high, about 3 times the amount we're paying here. And also, yeah, the neighbours were quite challenging, the direct neighbours to us. So they didn't really give much privacy or peace. So yeah, we always kind of planned to move on from there, but perhaps we moved on sooner than we may have done, possibly if we had had a harmonious relationship with the direct neighbours. But saying that, we got on well with other people on the street, and we're still in the same area, so it's not all bad. But yeah, 3.5 years later, I've put in quite a few bids on permanent properties over that time, but nothing had been offered up. And then by Providence, this place came up on the register, and it was in our category of accepted home list priority 2. And so we bid on it, and we got offered it, and we got first place. So that was just an amazing relief to finally land where you feel like you can stay, and a place that you want to be. So yeah, it's been a long old journey, as I say, best part of a decade to get to that point. And you also you can't really get help from council housing unless you are in housing need. So for us, that meant having children that needed a certain amount of bedrooms. It also meant not having over a certain amount of savings, which is not that much, but more than we had. So you can't have money stashed away or own properties elsewhere. So it really is it's a huge sacrifice to get to the point of having a council house that's on a permanent contract. And so now we're at the point where we stay here a year on like an introductory tenancy, and then after that we get put on a permanent tenancy, and then you can apply to make alterations to the property, and you can even have the right to buy. And I think you get to buy it like 70% of the market value, which is great. So yeah, it's a real like investment in our future, whether we stay renting or whether we do feel like we end up in a position to buy. It's just a real position of security now, and especially in this time of cost of living crisis, it's more than ever important to, at the base level, be able to afford, your rent and your basic costs. So yeah, let me give you a little tour of. Let's see if I can. I'm going to stop here and start again and face the camera the other way. Give me 2 seconds, guys. Right, so here we are at the top of the garden. This is, I don't know if you can see this wire fence, it goes directly back onto the woodlands at the back of our property, which is great, and we've got a lot of work to do in the garden. This is like the back section, kind of trampoline that's just been abandoned there because there's no flat land for it right now. This isn't actually our land over here, but it's kind of goes behind the back of other people's gardens that they're not using there. So we fenced off kind of the first 2/3 of our garden, and that's predominantly to keep animals in, really. So let's come down here without slipping because it's been raining, so it's not the easiest terrain to navigate. So we already put in this fence here. There was no fence on this side of the property when we entered, but this lovely nice bush to give us privacy on this side. So we put this gate in, and that's to keep the animals out. And we have also installed the chicken coop up here. Is our little fella Punk. Okay, so that's the chicken coop, and it goes to the next section of the garden, which we've built a few little extra steps into. There's a nice bush kind of giving more privacy down here. Look up to the trees, really peaceful down here. Okay, so let me walk down here, show you the next section of the garden. Another hill. So here we go, kind of built a slide into this section, and it takes us down to the back of the house, which has an amazing loft space, which I would love to make use of in the future. And then coming down further down the steps, Matt and his woodworking station. Say hi, Matt.
Hello there.
Yeah, okay, and so he's built like a trip over your wire, a woodworking bench and a tool shed. And this is like the back patio of the living room. This was the bunny hutch, but the bunnies are no longer, so hopefully we'll get some new residents for that. And then a back door into a lovely, interesting kitchen, actually. It's kind of a two-part kitchen, so it has two like sections to it, if you can see what I mean. And then the house goes around into a loop to the main hallway. Let's come back this way and I'll show you the living room. Might be in a bit of a mess right now. So yeah, the living room is nice and light and airy. Okay, and then I've got enough light, I'll come around here and show you up the stairs. So we managed to do like a flooring. There was no flooring when we moved in. A little bit of decorating to be done, but we've had to do all the decorating and basically all the flooring. We've got a carpet coming for these very lovely wooden stairs, and the hallway hasn't been carpeted yet. But Matt works super hard to get all the bedrooms decorated and carpeted. So this is the girls' room. Some lovely wallpaper up, and she backs onto the garden. And then I will go in to our main bedroom, which is a bit of a mess right now. And that has a lovely, like, you can see out to the sea if you look out the window at the front there. Okay, and then we have like a little separate bathroom to the toilet. I'm going to be very quiet, so I'm not sure he's awake. This is Yuli's room. Really nice space. Nice blue room there. And we've got lots of like nifty, actually, I'll go back in there to show you this really cool cupboard. Don't know if you can even see it. It just goes up really high, like it's one of these inbuilt cubby holes. That's a kid's dream. It's like a nice little hiding spot. And Stara also has a nice walk-in cupboard, airing cupboard here. Not that interesting, it's full of towels. And I think that's it. Oh, and there's our loft up there. So yeah, that's our amazing new house that we're very happy to start working on and making home. So yeah, that's kind of how we got here, and I'd really recommend anyone like struggling to pay these extortionate private rents to take this route if you can afford to let go of anything that's standing in your way to getting here. Yeah, either that or maybe buy yourself a nice bus and go and live the simple life. Yeah, live on the move. So yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Take care. Bye.